let's talk about VidCon last year.
Ooh.
The great, notorious Anita Sarkeesian.
This is a video I promised myself I would make 10 years ago when my mom died. But I've waited to do it because I wanted to let her rest. I wanted it to just kind of be over. There were a lot of people back home that remembered her, and I did not want to crap all over that memory.
And I got shit from both sides. I got shit from Anita's fans.
Let's set the let's place the setting. So what happened last year?
I get invited to be on a panel for cyberbullying, which is a topic I talk about quite a bit.
Right.
And my premise for cyberbullying has always been very simple. Doesn't matter who you are. You put yourself out there, you're going to catch shit.
Mm-hmm.
When a woman says, I catch it worse than you, I say, probably, but you know what? We're both getting it, so we should both work on it.
I want to tell the whole story here, but I think that would take an hour or longer to tell. So I'm just going to cut to some of the highlights. I'll use a few examples of some of the worst abuse that I ever dealt with, and some of the worst things that were going on in my home. But I want you to know that that just barely skims the surface of the stuff that me, my brother, and my sister went through. This is just a very small portion of it.
So your point going into that panel, I mean, people knew that was your position.
Right.
You had spoken about
Right.
it.
And I think VidCon knew when they asked me to be on it.
Right.
Is that I am here as a person. I'm going to repeat the thing that got me in so much trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But here I am sitting in a place of perceived privilege.
Mm-hmm.
I am straight. I'm white. I am male.
When I was very young, I would see my brother and my sister get abused all the time.
Right.
Is that I am here as a person. I'm going to repeat the thing that got me in so much trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But here I am sitting in a place of perceived privilege.
Mm-hmm.
I am straight. I'm white. I am male.
I watched my mom break my brother's nose once because he got caught drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I am straight. I'm white. I am male.
Eventually, my brother went off to college. My sister continually ran away. She ran away at the age of 11, the age of 12. She had a family member trying to adopt her. Eventually, mom just turned her over to foster care, to the child services, and just let her go. And that left me alone in the home, and it just kind of went downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
I am straight. I'm white. I am male.
My dad ended up getting very, very sick. I talked about this in the Draw My Life. He was an alcoholic, and he basically drank himself into a stroke, damaging his brain. And he was gone for about 6 months for rehabilitation to try to relearn how to speak and relearn how to walk. And
I am straight. I'm white. I am male.
And just eventually come back into our lives as an invalid. But soon after that happened was the very, very first time mom lost her mind and beat me to near death.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys think that makes me bulletproof.
Right.
But it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because I've had people show up at my front door to say nasty shit to my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had them send boxes of shit to my front door. I've had them send black dildos to my P.O. box.
Shit?
Boxes of shit.
That's bio.
Really? Actual boxes of shit.
I slept in the same room as my mom up until the age of like 14, and I slept in the same bed as my mom until the age of 11. I never really understood the point of that. I think it was something about my sister being dangerous or not having enough space, even though we had a reasonably sized house with all these empty rooms. I remember they would never properly heat the house, so it was always very cold in those rooms. I don't know. I think it was just a product of the abuse. I still don't understand that to this day.
That shit. And I do not doubt for a second that plenty of women get it worse.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't doubt for a second that a person of color. You say that to me, I believe you. I've got no reason not to believe you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the argument was about. I'm sure I did something to upset her. But rather than slap me or spank me, she just hit me in the face with her fist. And then did it again and again and again. And I don't remember too terribly much about that night because it's one of the very first times I ever depersonalized or disassociated, related to my post-traumatic stress disorder. I do remember at some point I was in the floor and she was kicking me, and I pulled my mattress off of my little twin bed and pulled it on top of me. So she started stomping on top of that mattress to try to damage me through it. And then eventually she just got tired and quit. And I laid there for I don't know how long, but eventually she came into the room and said, if you don't get up and you don't move, I will kill you. So I got up and I moved. I don't really remember what happened after that.
And then we got off stage and she puts her finger in my face and she's like, I don't fucking appreciate what you fucking said up there, knowing I didn't have a chance to fucking respond. And I'm like, it was closing statements. Everybody got a chance to close. They went to you next immediately after me. I don't understand. But like what I originally told her.
But she's bullying you.
Right. She's like straight up furious.
All right. All right. Now that this bullying.
I wouldn't call it bullying, but I mean, she's mad.
But pretty much from that day forward, that's how it went. Every couple of days, she was very easy to anger, very easy to upset. And when she became angry, she used her fists, or sometimes she used a bottle, or sometimes she used a knife or a fork or whatever was handy. She would throw heavy objects at me. She would crack me in the head. I've been hit in the head with a hammer. I've been hit in the head with a big glass bottle, have it shattered over my head. That stuff thrown across me, across the room. It was just pretty much a daily occurrence. And the bruises and the cuts and the scratches just completely went ignored by the folks at my high school. I never really understood how or why.
She's bullying you.
Right, she's like straight up furious.
All right. Now that this bullying...
I wouldn't call it bullying, but I mean, she's mad.
Eventually, I did ask a teacher there, and I asked them, why did that happen? Why did you guys not know that was happening? And they said, yes, we knew it was happening. We tried to help as best we could. I don't think they did a very good job, but it's nice to at least know they were aware and that they were trying to help.
She's bullying you.
Right, she's straight up furious.
All right. Now that this bullying...
I wouldn't call it bullying, but I mean, she's mad.
I mean...
One teacher in particular was very useful. I don't know if she'll ever see this video, but her name was Miss Wall, and she introduced me to the world of literature. One day I was in the library. She picked up a book called Stephen King's The Shining and said, have you ever read this? I said, no. She goes, it's an adult book. I think you'll really like it. It's about the son of an alcoholic in an abusive home. I think you might be able to relate to that. She was right. I became a huge Stephen King fan, but she also introduced me to Kurt Vonnegut, Douglas Adams, a lot of incredible stuff. And I used books to escape what was going on the same way I used video games when I could rarely afford to play one or get a hold of one. It really, really helped. She might very well have saved my life, I think.
I mean, she's got her finger in your face, and how dare you disagree with me?
I'm like, look, I have diagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder. I depersonalize during moments of great stress. I'm already in a lot of pain. That pain was very hard on me. You're now, got your finger in my face. We need to back off for a second because I might say or do some stupid shit, and I don't want to do that, okay? So why don't we talk about this, right?
What were you afraid of doing?
I don't know, firing back, putting my finger in her face, screaming at her. I don't want to scream at a woman who's, a quarter of my weight. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to scream at anybody.
It was pretty obvious that the school knew what was going on, though, because one incident actually happened on school grounds. I knew they were having financial trouble, and I must have been 14 at the time. I was in French club, and we were going to some sort of winery for like a day trip. But it was like $25 is what you needed to have to go. You had to have a permission slip signed, and I knew Mom didn't have very much money. So as we approached the school for me to be dropped off, she sees that bus and sees kids from my class getting on, and she goes, oh, is there a field trip today? I said, yeah, but I'm not going. I'm just staying at the library with the other kids that can't afford to go. And she lost her mind, and she began to whip the car around and start driving to a bank. She's like, now I'm going to be late for work. And she begins to, while driving her car, speeding down the road, clawing at my face. And I remember she caught my left eye just briefly, scratching the cornea a tiny little bit. And my brain just took over. That PTSD, that fight or flight just took over. And we were doing 30 miles an hour, but I just opened the door to the car and I got out. And I hit the ground and I rolled and I scratched up my stomach and I scratched up my face a little bit and I scratched up my arms and legs. And my principal and my teacher and all the kids in my class saw that happen, and nothing really came of it. I never understood that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people misperceive that as we don't want to scream at her because she's so powerful. No, she's a fellow human being. I don't ever want to be caught on video, much less actually screaming in the face of another person. Mm-hmm. I don't ever want to reciprocate. If somebody's mean to me, I don't want to be mean back.
Right.
But I will do that when they depersonalize, because I'll go into fight or flight, and then I'll let go. And then I will call her every name of the book. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I covered for my mom, which is what I always did because I was very, very scared of her.
And here's what I will say, and I think this is the thing that got me in more trouble than anything. I think Anita Sarkeesian's goals might be genuine.
Because I was very, very scared of her.
I think Anita Sarkeesian's goals might be genuine.
I remember before walking in to see the therapist, I asked her, what do you want me to tell this therapist? And she goes, I want you to tell her the truth. And I said, that you hit me? And why would I tell her that? And she's like, no, you tell her that you're a piece of garbage. You tell her that you're a piece of shit. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me. But let me tell you, whatever you tell her, if she tries to take you out of this home, I will kill you and I will kill myself.
And I know that's hard for a lot of people to understand.
You have to accept that, I feel like.
I think a lot of people feel that she's like a con artist and that she's like just grifting.
So I did the smart thing. I went in and I lied because I knew Mom was serious. This is a woman who had attempted suicide several times. This is a woman who'd nearly killed me and my brother and my sister several times. She was crazy. I believed her.
Yeah. And there's plenty of stuff that you could show that actually might represent that point. Why are you choosing this? And I think a lot of that had to do with the writers and that she may not be that versed and stuff like that.
But I covered for my mom, which is what I always did because I was very, very scared of her.
But most people agree with like some of her base points, like, hey, should there be an equal number of female protagonists as male protagonists? Sure, why not? Why not? So my favorite games star female protagonists. Let's do that. Yeah. More female protagonists. Should they be sexy? Sometimes sure, and sometimes not. That's also okay. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Like you're the game designer. Make a cool game.
She blasted her way through it. I fell to the ground, and I'll never remember this look in her eye because she's holding the hammer with the heavy side first. And she does me this favor, like, thank you for opening the door. She turns the hammer around, and instead of hitting me with the hard end, which could easily have cracked my skull, she hit me with the claw end, which just kind of scratched the scalp pretty hard and caused me to bleed. But she hit me a few times with it and then just got bored and left.
Mm-hmm. Her methodology is to rile up the crazies, get right in the face, put a finger in their face and say, I don't like fucking what you're fucking saying. And that's fine.
When she wasn't crazy, she was a very, very good person who did very, very good things and taught me very, very good lessons that I'll always be grateful for.
But I think after talking to her for an hour, she, on some level, definitely wants what's best and doesn't understand that her methodology is very poor.
She was always trying to make up for the damage that she had done, too. She often used food with me. There were times where she would beat me to near death and then take me to Pizza Hut right afterwards, and I would sit there eating a deep dish pizza while trying to smile and trying to enjoy it. Because, you know, that's her doing her best. And I understood and appreciated that was her best. And sometimes I would be sitting there with a wound that still needed to be dressed and bleeding into my shirt, but still eating pizza and trying to smile.
Mm-hmm. And maybe she's wrong about that. And that's entirely for your audience to decide. That's for my audience to decide. That's fine. Here's what I can say. I came out thinking, I just kind of feel bad for her. Because I think that she, you know, wants to build something great, but keeps knocking it down herself every single time. And I'm just like, okay, I don't really have a bone to pick with this woman anymore because I just kind of feel like bad. And so hopefully she'll figure it out. You know, hopefully she'll figure out how to get an audience. Hopefully she'll figure out how to keep an audience. And hopefully she'll figure out something that's very difficult to do, which is change people's minds.
And I stood almost a foot taller than her. And I grabbed her hands and I said, Mom, I think we're done with this. I don't think you get to hit me anymore. And she says, when you let go of my hands, I can't believe you're hurting me. I can't believe you're hurting me. I'm sorry I'm hurting you, but we're just not going to do this anymore. You're not going to hurt me anymore. And she says, when you let go of my hands, I am going to kill you.
So she's like,
I'm sure even if she sat down with Sargon, they could probably work out some differences.
Right. And that's the thing I'll say. My methodology, a lot of people don't agree with it, okay? But here's the thing. I got an hour alone with Anita Sarkeesian. Do you think Sargon's ever going to get an hour alone with her? She sat down and talked to me for a full fucking hour and listened to me and heard me out. And I'll tell you, dismissed everything I had to say. But that's fine. Listened. She listened. Yeah. Sargon's never going to get that.
Sounds like...
You know, she recognized me and I held her hand and she says, Steve, don't let him resuscitate me. Don't let him treat me. I just want to die. I want to go. And I said, I know, Mom. Don't you have a living will? And she says, yes. She told me where to find it, how to go get it, which I agreed to do. And then she looked up at me with this look in her eyes that I'll never forget. And she says, I'm sorry. And I said, for what? And she said, I ruined your life. And I said, no, Mom. No, I like who I am. Don't you like who I am? And she said, yeah.